Okay, I can see the charts now. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the second day of HTML and CSS Essentials lectures. I hope everyone is doing fine. Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Is my screen visible? Can you guys tell me that? Everyone, please confirm me. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Shefali, Shivani, Tanish. Good evening, guys. Good evening, and welcome back to the second day. Great. I hope you all guys found the assignment yesterday, right? So if you have registered to the sessions, if you have registered to the what do you say, the course, I think the assignment was mailed to you, right? So I hope everyone found the assignment. And if not, don't worry. Like if you guys are facing problems in like getting the assignments, today I'll write down it in front of you. Okay, so I'll write down the question in front of you so that you can like complete it. Okay, so this was yesterday's assignment. If you want to like see, this was yesterday's assignment. So yep. So if you have not seen it, this was yesterday's assignment. Create a web page containing 5 images, 1 audio, and 2 videos. Okay, and everyone, please, the registration link is in the chat. Please go on that link and register yourself so that the assignments and the files will be mailed to you. And don't worry, if you were unable to find the assignment, this was the question. Very simple question. Create a web page containing 5 images, 1 audio, and 2 videos. Simple. Is that clear, everyone? Okay. I can see some people asking, sir, when is the last date of submitting the assignment? The last date, I think, will be 19th. Maybe it will be 22, Wednesday. It will be 22. So don't worry about the submission. Right now, just complete it. The assignment submission link will also be given to you in the chat, and you can submit your assignments there. Okay. So for anyone whoever was unable to find the assignment question, this was the assignment question. And for today's assignment, at the end of the session, I'll write down the question in front of you so that you can see everything. Okay, everyone. So now let's get started. Okay. And I am really excited for today's session because today we are starting with CSS. So first of all, tell me, all of you, are we excited for today's session? Because yesterday we almost completed everything about HTML, and today we are going to start with CSS. So we're going to learn actually how to style our HTML elements, how to like yesterday few people are asking, right, how to arrange elements, how to move it in center, how to align here and there. We're going to do everything today. We'll see everything today: how to arrange your elements, how to align it, how to size it. Everything related to styling your elements we are going to see today. Okay. So now guys, before like without wasting any more time, let's get started directly. So again, because today we have a new topic, so first of all, we'll do the thing that we always do. We'll first try to understand what are we going to learn today. Okay, so let's do it real quick. So yesterday we learned about HTML. Today we are going to learn about CSS. Now, what is CSS? Okay, let's talk let's just talk about CSS for 2 minutes. So what exactly is CSS? So CSS is nothing but something that stands for Cascading Style Sheet. Okay, so CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet, and what it is, it's nothing but a styling language that works with HTML elements. It's nothing but a styling language that works with HTML elements. Okay. So what it is, like HTML was a markup language, right? So CSS is a styling language that works on HTML elements. And what does it do? So basically, it helps HTML elements like in a lot of ways. Like it gives them size, it gives them color, it aligns them, arranges them, moves them backward and forward. So all the things, all the beautifulness that you see on the web page for your elements, everything is done by CSS. So CSS is basically gonna be used to style your HTML elements. And when I say styling, that basically means arranging your elements, aligning your elements, like arranging them in horizontal order, vertical order, like giving them size, making them big, making them small, whatever you see on a web page, right? All the things can be done with CSS. Like you saw that with HTML, we only create the elements, right? And they go in a simple order. Like on the left side, they will just simply when we start creating elements using HTML, on the left side, they just get created. There is no styling, there is no arrangement. They don't look good. We create the elements, but they don't look good. So for all of that stuff, we are going to use CSS for sizing, for coloring, for arrangement, for alignment, everything we're going to do with CSS. Is that clear? So that's what CSS is. Full form is Cascading Style Sheet, and it's simply a styling language that works with HTML elements. That's it. Sorted. That's like all about CSS. Now today we are going to learn how to actually write CSS and how to apply it on HTML elements. Like there are two steps. There are two things that you have to learn when you're learning CSS. First, you should understand how to write CSS. So that is one thing you have to learn in the basic. Second, how to apply CSS on a HTML element. So these are the two things that we have to understand. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, let's see how to write CSS. What is the basic way or basic syntax of writing CSS? So remember, guys, CSS is always written in a property colon value format. Property colon value and semicolon. So CSS is always written in a property colon value format, and CSS is nothing but collection of a lot of properties. Okay, and property have a lot of values. For example, like just to like show you, okay, color can be a property and red can be a value, right? For example, height can be a property and 200 pixel can be a value. Width can be a property, 300 pixel can be a value. Just like that. So CSS has vast collection of properties. It has a lot of properties, and that's what we have to learn. How many properties are there? Which properties do what kind of thing, and how to apply a property onto a particular element. Okay, so CSS is basically written in this format: property colon value. That's it. No other thing, nothing. Property colon value. That is it. CSS will be always written in property colon value format. So color red, background color green. So there are a lot of properties, and that's what we have to learn. And don't worry about it. We are going to learn over time. Okay, slowly we'll learn everything. But now we have understood how to write CSS. It will be always written in property colon value format. But now this was one important thing. What is the next important thing? How will you tell your properties that you have to get applied on a particular element, that you have to work for a particular element? For example, you create a P tag, you create a H1 tag, right? And now you write some CSS, okay, like color red or font size 200 pixel or something like that. And now, how will you tell your CSS that you have to get applied on a particular HTML element, that you have to work with a particular HTML element? How will you do that? So that's one really important thing, okay? And that's the second important thing. So basically, there are three ways by which you can apply CSS on HTML. There are three ways by which you can apply CSS on HTML elements. Okay, and all three ways have name, and we're going to see everything today. So the three ways are: the first way is called the inline way or inline CSS. The second way is called internal CSS, and the third way is called external CSS. Okay, again, there's a spelling mistake. External CSS or the external way. So these are the three ways by which you can apply CSS onto HTML. So first thing, this is how you write CSS properties. So CSS is nothing but a collection of a lot of properties. It has a lot of properties, and we have to understand how to use those properties and what those properties do. Okay, and you write it like this: property colon value and semicolon. Property colon value and semicolon. So first thing, we have understood how to write it. Second thing, how to apply it. So there are three ways: inline way, internal way, and external way. And we have to see that now in code. So guys, have we understood the basic concept of CSS? Everyone, please tell me, guys, everyone, I want answer from everyone. Have we understood the basic concept of CSS? Okay, so that we can move ahead now and we can see the real magic, what we're going to do. So everyone, come on, tell me. Okay. Yes, just to give you a revision, CSS is nothing but a styling language that works with HTML element. CSS is written in a property colon value format. It has a lot of properties, and property can have a lot of values. Okay, and to apply the CSS properties onto a HTML element, there are three ways: inline, internal, and external. And that's what we're going to learn. So I hope the point is clear. So if anyone asks for a definition, what is CSS? You can tell this answer, a complete good answer, right? Now, let's go ahead and let's see how to do it. So close the notepad. We don't need it anymore. And now let's go and create a new file. Okay. So we are not going to use this file again. So let's create a new HTML file now. So let's call it something like second.html. Okay. So a new HTML file in which we'll code the new things. First of all, let's make the basic code ready. So doc type HTML, then HTML. Then inside HTML, you have head. Okay. And then Side head, you have title. So let me just make the basic code ready first. Title, and let's call it like CSS basics. And then I need a body, and that's it. Save all of it, and let's run this page as well. So right click, again the same trick, copy the path, go in your favorite browser. So let me get a browser window for you first. Here we go. Paste it and done. Chandresh, it's not like that, buddy. Don't worry, don't worry. We are planning for it. Right now, like all these HTML, CSS essentials are going on, right? So after this, we are going to do Flutter. Don't worry about it, Chandresh. Don't worry. Don't worry. That is in the plan, but maybe in some more time. So don't worry. We are going to keep our promises. Don't worry, Chandresh. Don't worry. Okay, guys. So now a page is up and running. Okay, you can see that, and it's completely blank. So now let's start and let's see how to apply CSS. Okay, so let's see the first way. And for that, first of all, let's create a HTML element. Like before doing anything, you have to create a HTML element, right? So let's create a paragraph that we learned yesterday, right? So let's create a paragraph, simple paragraph. Let me just close the sidebar. Okay, so now we have a simple paragraph which looks like this. Let me just zoom it. Here we go, which look like this. Simple, right? Now, I want to apply some CSS on this paragraph element. Guys, please everyone focus. If you just see everything or like focus on everything for the next 5 minutes, you'll understand all the basics of CSS. You just have to focus for the next 5 minutes. Okay. So now, how to apply CSS on this paragraph element? Let's say I want to color this text by using CSS. How to do that? So let's use the first way, that is the inline way. An inline way says there is a style attribute available. Now you know what is attributes, right? We have seen it yesterday. We used SRC attribute and everything. So there's also a style attribute available. So you can just go in the opening tag and use the style attribute. Okay, and style, so attribute equals to value. So style, and now inside this double quotes, you can write all your CSS, all the property values that you want. For example, color, see, property, colon, value, semicolon. Concept, remember the concept, guys. Color, so property, colon, value. See the syntax, property, colon, value, semicolon. And let's see if it is actually working. And here we go. Now you can see your paragraph is colored red. So that's how you work. Now, if you want to apply one more property, just go after the semicolon and write one more property. Like let's say font family is one property. So font family is property, colon, value, give any font family that is available in your PC. So for now, I'm going to give it Calibri. Save it. And here we go. Now the font family is also changed. So you can see property, colon, value, then semicolon, and then next property, colon, value, and the semicolon. And then you can continue with next property, and as many properties as you want, whatever you want to apply. Is that cleared, everyone? Guys, are we cleared? Yes, Monty, you can say that. Yeah, it kinds of compiles, but yeah, here it's not like C. Okay, so basically HTML is basically interpreted by the DOM interpreter, and then a tree is made. So that's what you can say if you just talk about compiling. Okay, like it's not a programming language, so there is nothing like that basically. But yeah, it is interpreted by the DOM interpreter, and a tree is made out of it so that you can see your output. Okay, guys. I hope everyone is clear. Can we get errors like C language? No, here you don't get errors like C language because it's not a programming language. It's like a content creation language. So whatever content you create, you will see it, whether it is wrong or right. It's a content creation, right? Like for example, it's a drawing paper. Whatever you draw, wrong or right, you're going to see it. Drawing paper is not going to give you like error. No, this shape is wrong. Whatever you draw, you're going to see it. Okay. Now, guys, let's move ahead. Okay, so this is how you apply inline CSS. And don't worry about the properties. We are going to learn a lot of properties. Today only, we are going to learn a lot of properties. But for now, keep it simple. So this is how you apply inline CSS. Okay. Now, what are the disadvantages of inline CSS? Because now we have three ways, right? So let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages. So fine, this is how you apply CSS. This is one way. But are there any problems with this? So let's talk about that. So let's say I have a P element, okay, one more P element, and again one more paragraph. Now let's say, everyone please focus. Let's say I want to apply the exact same CSS on this paragraph as well. Now see, there's no CSS applied on this paragraph because inline CSS says that on whatever element you will use me, I'll only be available for that element. That means if you write inline CSS, it will be only available for a single element. That's it. It is not at all reusable. That means if I want to apply this CSS on the other element, it's like I cannot reuse it. I have to write it again. Like, yeah, that's fine. I can copy and paste it, but I am writing the same code again just to get the same CSS. It is not at all reusable. So inline CSS, the disadvantage of inline CSS is it is not at all reusable. That means if you have like 100 of P element, you have to write CSS 100 times. If you have thousands of P elements, you have to write CSS 1000 times. And now imagine you have 50 different type of elements in your like in your HTML page, and you have to apply CSS to all of them. So inline CSS will become very messy, right? You have to go to all the elements and you have to write CSS. So now we have to find out, is there any other way by which we can write CSS only once and use it on multiple elements? Is there a way? So everyone, are we understanding inline CSS? First of all, tell me that, guys. Are we understanding what is inline CSS and the disadvantage of it? So it's fine. It works perfectly fine. But the problem is you have to rewrite it if you want to reuse it, right? You cannot write it once and use it multiple times. You have to rewrite it. Okay. So now, guys, the next way goes like this. Now we have to use the next type of CSS, that is internal CSS. And let's see if that solves our problem. So for now, let me comment this out so that if I share this file with you, you'll have this. Okay. And let's remove this. Okay. And let's create few more paragraphs now. Let's create few more paragraphs. Now I have 3 paragraphs. I have commented the first one. That is the example of inline CSS. So now, guys, I have 3 paragraphs and they don't have any CSS. Okay. Now let's use the next way and let's see if it solves our problem. So the next way of applying CSS is what? Internal CSS. So now where to write internal CSS? Okay. So now you can go in your head tag. Always, like, this is the good practice. Go in your head tag. Okay. Just after your title or before your title. Mostly be after the title. Use a style tag there. Now use a style tag. Okay. Now once you write style tag, now in between the opening and the closing, the area that you see here between the opening and the closing is the area where you can write CSS. Now in this area you cannot write HTML. This area belongs to CSS. So the area between opening of the style tag and closing of the style tag is the area for CSS. And here you can write all the properties and values. Now then, how to write it? Okay. So for example, let's say I write this CSS color red, right? And let's say font family calibre. Let's say write something like this. But how will you tell this CSS that you have to get applied on these P elements? How will you tell this CSS? There should be some kind of contact, right? Because see, in inline CSS, you directly had a style attribute that is directly applied to the tag. But now CSS is on some other place, HTML is at some other place. So how will you tell your CSS that you have to get applied on that particular HTML element? How will you connect them? So for that, you have a concept of selectors. For that, you have a concept of selectors. So first of all, what you do is, whatever CSS you feel that you want to apply to a particular element, enclose them in block, so that you can say that they belong to a single element. So enclose them inside a block. And then now how will you tell this, like how will you tell this block of CSS that you have to get applied somewhere? So for that, you're going to use a selector. So selector is nothing but the thing that you use to select a particular element. So basically, the first selector that you can use is the tag name. You can select the element using the tag name like this. Just go here and just write down the tag name like this and sorted. Now, by writing this, you're saying that means you're basically saying, I want to apply this CSS on P tag. Now, remember, guys, don't do this. Don't do this here. You don't have to write the tag. You simply write the tag name. So by writing this tag name, you're selecting all the P elements in your HTML document and you want to apply this CSS. Why you're enclosing it? So that in future, you can write some other CSS as well and there will be no conflict. That's why these brackets are important. Like they are like just like block, right? Okay, this CSS belongs to this P, so that you can, in future in some other blocks you can write some other CSS. So blocks are very important. You don't write your CSS openly. Blocks are very important. And this here is a tag name selector. It's a tag name that you're using as a selector to select P elements. That's why this thing is called as a selector. Okay, now let's see what it is doing. So save it And here we go. See that? The CSS color red and font family Calibri is applied to all the three elements. That means I wrote my CSS only once and it got applied to all the three elements. And that is the solution of inline problem. Right now, I'm reusing my CSS without writing it multiple times. I wrote it only once and I can use it multiple times. Is that clear, everyone? Sir, why we use style tag in head only? We can use in body also. Yes, Ankit, we can definitely use in body. But the problem is, what we try is, we try to keep up good coding practices. Now, see, if you want, you can also put your style in body. But the problem is, body is the place for your elements. So we try to keep your CSS separate so that readability is good. So whenever we want to see CSS, we can go in head. Whenever we want to see our elements, we can go in body. So it's just a good coding practice. That's it. If you want, you can also keep it in body. Right? It's just a good practice that a lot of people follow. It's not mandatory, but it's just a good practice. Is that cleared? Everyone, are we cleared? Guys, please tell me, are we cleared? Are we cleared with how to start applying internal? So this is what you call as internal CSS. Now, why it is called internal CSS? Let me just talk like about that as well. Because you're writing CSS separately, but inside the HTML page only. So that's why we call it internal CSS, or it has one more name. It's also called as embedded CSS. Okay, because it is embedded in your HTML page. Is that clear? Vikas is asking, what is the full form of CSS? Full form of CSS is cascading style sheet, Vikas. Full form of CSS is cascading style sheet. So guys, this is what is internal CSS. But again, now it solved your one problem, but now it again comes with some other problems. Okay, once problem is solved, now I can reuse CSS. Amazing, that's really great. But it again comes with some other problems. Now, what are the other problems? Let's see that as well. Once again, repeat internal. Okay, why it is called internal CSS? Because you're writing CSS separately, but in the same page as your HTML. You're writing it inside the HTML page. That's why it is called as internal CSS. Is that cleared? See, why it is called inline? Because you write in the tag, in a specific tag, in the tagline only. That's why you call it inline CSS. Why it is called internal? Because you're writing the CSS separately, but it is still inside the HTML page. That's why it is called as internal CSS. So that's just a way of naming it. That's it. Okay. Now, guys, let's see what are the other problems that we have now. Okay. Let's see. Can CSS be used in C language? I don't think so, Monty. I don't think so. There we have like CGI, right? We have computer graphics that you can use in replacement of CSS. I don't think CSS can be used with C language. Okay. Now, guys, let's see what are the other problems. So now, let's say, everyone please focus now. Let's say I want this third paragraph to be colored green. Let's say I want this third paragraph to be colored green. What can I do? Because now, according to my CSS, this CSS is applied on all the P elements. So what if only on the last P element I want to do something else? Because see, if I write something here, it will be applied to all the P elements. So what if only for the last P element I want to do something else? What can I do for it? So basically, what you can do there is you can give your P another name, because this is a problem. If you only select using tag name and if you apply CSS, what if I want to apply something else to a particular element? But because it is a P, we have a problem, because whatever you write in P will be applied to all the elements. So for that, what you can do is you can give it a separate selector. Like you can just give it a different name, like a nickname, by which you can call it separately. See, all of them are P, right? But you can give a third P a separate name, a different name by which you can call it. Okay. So let's see how to do that in HTML. So you can call it a different name or a nickname or a different selector. Okay. So by default, all the elements have a tag name. So that is one name by which they can be called. But what are the other things? How can I give them different names? So for that, you have two things. You have something called as ID, which you can give to the element. You have something called as class, which you can give to the element. So you can give a ID, you can also give a class. And we're going to understand both. Like why do we have two things and what are the problems or the advantages of both the things. Okay. So first of all, let's deal with class, because it is the most common way of giving separate names. So now you can write class and give anything here. So let's say we call it one. So class of one. Now what it means, this means that now you can call this P tag by two names. One by using its own tag name, that is P. One, by using this class name, that is one. That's it. So let's see how to call an element using a class name, how to select an element using the class name. So let's see how to do that. And that's really simple. You can just go here and write your name. In this case, I'm calling it by class name. So I write one. But how will CSS understand that this is the class name and not a tag name? How will the CSS understand that this is a class name and not a tag name? So for that, you have a specification. You have to put a dot in front of the name, and that's it. So by this, the CSS will understand that this is a class name. If you don't put anything, it will think it's a tag name. If you put a dot, it will understand that this is a class name. So I have to find out the elements which have a class name of one, and I have to apply this CSS there. So now, again, you can do the same thing. Let's say I do color green. Now, whatever elements has a class of one, apply color green on them. So this third element is having a class of one, right? So let's see what is happening here. And here we go. Now you can see the color of the third element is changed and now it is green. So that is an amazing thing, right? And the best part about classes is, you can give a single class to multiple elements. You can also give a single class to multiple elements. That is allowed. That is perfectly allowed. So see, I can create one more P with the same class. So you can do this. You can give a single class name to multiple elements. That's one really great thing about classes. You can give the same class name to multiple elements. And there is one more really great thing about classes. You can also give multiple classes to the single element. So for example, if I want to give this element one more class for some other CSS, I want to give this element one more class. What you can do is just give a space and pass one more class, whatever you want. Let's say I want to give it like ABC. That's it. So now this element can be called by three names: by P tag name, by one class name, or by ABC class name. So remember, guys, classes are one of the most common and one of the most used selectors. Why? Because of their advantages. You can repeat the same class name again and again so that you can apply same CSS on multiple elements. And you can also give multiple classes to a single element. If you want to get a lot of CSS from here and there, you can also do that. Is that clear, everyone? Are we understanding? And don't worry, we're going to see the use of it. Right now, just understand that you can do this. You can give same class name to multiple elements. Are we cleared, everyone? Please tell me. Guys, are we cleared? So same class name to multiple elements is allowed, and multiple classes to a single element is also allowed. So that's really, really great thing about classes. And that's why while using CSS, classes are the thing that we are going to use a lot. Not even tag names. Classes are the things that we're going to use 90% of the times. So everyone remember, while doing CSS, classes are the one thing that you should always use. Now, but let's also talk about the thing that we don't use while working with CSS. We have to talk about that. So we also have a concept of ID. We also have a concept of ID. So you can again give any ID to this. So for example, we can give it like A1. So let's give it an ID of A1. Okay. So now I give it an ID of A1. That means now I can call this element either by tag name, that is P, or by the ID A1. So let's see how to call an element or how to select an element with the ID. Let's see that. Okay. So now again, I just go here and I specify A1. But again, CSS will not understand this because it will think it's a tag name. So to specify that this is the ID and not a tag name, you have to mention a hash in front of it. So for classes, you mention dot. For IDs, you mention hash. And then again, you can simply go ahead and write, let's say, color yellow. Right now, I'm choosing any bad colors. Don't worry about it. So let's see if it is working now. And here we go. It's very bright, but you can see now, right? It's a yellow colored paragraph. Right? It's a yellow colored paragraph. But now you can ask her, like, why are we using like class? Like, why do we have class and ID both? Like, if ID works, why can't we only use ID? So remember, guys, now you have to understand. IDs are made for uniqueness. That means it's a rule or it's a standard, you can say, that once you give an ID to an element, you cannot repeat the same ID again. That's a standard. That's a rule that you have to follow. Because according to W3C, the authority that checks up all this, according to their standards, you should never use a single ID multiple times. And you can't give multiple IDs to a single element. So again, it will be a problem that again, it will be like really problematic. For example, if I give A1 to this element, and I want to apply the same CSS again, I cannot use A1 again. So that's again a problem, right? I cannot reuse my CSS. That's why we normally avoid IDs. That's why we normally avoid the IDs. We don't use IDs while working with CSS. We only use classes because classes are very, very like fantastic and flexible, right? You can simply reuse them again and again. You can rewrite the same class again and again, and you can give multiple classes to single element. So that's the best thing about classes, and that's the difference between ID and class. ID is for complete uniqueness. Once you give an ID to an element, you can never repeat that ID again. Otherwise, according to W3C, that is World Wide Web Consortium, the authority, according to that authority, it's a wrong thing. It will be an error in their case. Is that clear? And then when you launch your website will be not considered good by the search engines and everything, because they read your semantics, they read your code and everything, and they understand, is your code good? Is your code perfectly structured and everything? They read that. So if you're using same ID multiple times, according to a lot of like search engine authorities, your code is not perfect. Is that clear, everyone? So that's why we normally avoid IDs, and that's why we are also going to avoid IDs for CSS. But I really hope that you understood the basics. Yes, it's a good practice to use class only. So use classes. See, you can also use IDs, but only use it one time. See, ID is not a bad practice. Reusing ID is a bad practice. So you can use ID, but then you have to take care. You have to create IDs again and again, and you can't reuse your CSS, right? You have to write different IDs, and you have to apply different CSS. So it's using IDs is not a bad practice. Reusing ID is a bad practice. Is that cleared? Are we cleared, everyone? If by mistake we use same ID in two element, will it show the styling in any one of the element by preference or not show anything? Mudit, like see, if you use the same ID twice, it will work. For CSS, it will work, but that's not a good standard. It will definitely work, but that's not a good thing. Is that clear, Mudit? If you check your code, if you validate your code on the W3C standards, it will show you that it's an error. You cannot repeat the ID. Is that clear, everyone? Can C# be used with HTML and CSS? Yes, as a backend language, definitely, but you don't integrate them, right? But yes, as a backend language, we use C# as a language in our MVC frameworks, .NET MVC. Like now, I'm not from .NET, but I like maybe I'm right in this case. You can use it as a backend language, like in your MVC, .NET MVC, and everything, right? So yes, why not? But you don't integrate them. Is that clear, everyone? Guys, are we clear? Please tell me. So are we understanding? So now we'll know how to select elements using tag name. Now we know how to select using elements using class name. And now we also know that we should never use, like we should always, like not never, but we should always avoid using IDs for CSS, because we cannot repeat it. So again, it will be a problematic thing because we cannot reuse our CSS. Okay. So this was internal CSS. Are we cleared, everyone? And now we learned something about selectors, and we know 3 selectors now. And again, here's a spelling mistake. Selectors. Yep. So now we know three things. We know tag name selector, class name selector, and ID selector. Is that clear, everyone? Guys, please tell me, everyone. I want everyone to answer. Are we cleared? Guys, are we cleared? Can we move ahead now? Can we see the external CSS? How to add animations for text and images? Because first we have to understand basics, right? We cannot directly move to animations. Yes, we can definitely use CSS to perform animations. But first of all, we have to understand the basics. Sir, whatever HTML code I write in VS Code, result of that code will not reflected back in Chrome browser. What should I do? Refresh it. Yeah, Vidya, I think you're not saving your code. Save it and refresh your page. It will work definitely. I think you're not saving your code. Okay. Now, guys, let's move ahead and let's see the last trick of how to apply CSS. That is the external CSS. And now remember, guys, internal CSS, external CSS are 99% same. There is only one difference, that in internal CSS, your CSS is in the HTML page. In external CSS, your CSS is in a separate page. That's it. For example, what you do in external CSS is you create a separate page. Okay, so let's get one more page that is completely dedicated to CSS. That means in that page, you can only write CSS. You're only going to write CSS. So let's like name it anything. So let's call it first again, or let's call it second. But now the extension will be .css, because now we are creating a CSS file. And now on this page here, you're only going to write CSS in the same way which you write in internal way. That means you can write CSS in the exact same way, like this. You can cut it from here and paste it. You don't need any style tag or anything because your page extension is .css. That means you can literally write CSS here. Is that clear? Can I change extension .html to .css? If you change it, then your HTML will not work, right, Vedant? If you change it, then your HTML will not work. So you have to basically you need to have a separate HTML page and a separate CSS page. So now, guys, we have created a separate CSS page. Okay, and now we can remove the style tag. Can CSS be used in an HTML file? Yes, Monty, that's what we are doing, right? Internal CSS is that thing only, right? We were using CSS inside the HTML file. I think that was the internal CSS, right? You are using CSS in the HTML file. That was internal CSS. Now we are removing the CSS outside the HTML file in a separate file that is completely dedicated to CSS. Okay, so now, guys, you can see the writing way is same. The way of writing CSS is still same. Property value, selectors, everything is fine. The different case is the page is different. Now this page is a completely different page and it's a CSS page, and then you have your HTML page. But now the problem is, how will our HTML file know that I have to take my CSS from this page? If it was inline, it was in the tag. If it was internal, it was in the HTML page. So HTML page understood that, okay, fine, I have to take my CSS from the style tag. But now CSS is in a separate page and HTML is in a separate page. So how will they know that I have to work for each other? Right? I have to take my CSS from there, or how will the CSS file know that I have to like put my CSS there? How will they know? So now what you have to do is you have to link both the pages. You have to connect both the pages. Okay, and for that, again, go in your head tag and use a tag called link. Link. Now there are two attributes that you have to use. The first is rel. That means whatever you're linking, what kind of relationship you have with that particular element that you're linking. Okay, fine. So I'm linking a CSS page. So the relation is the page that I'm linking is my style sheet. I'm going to take my style from there. So mention style sheet. That means the page that I'm going to link is my style sheet. And then space, one more attribute, that is href, that stands for hyperlink reference. Here you have to pass the path of your file. So it's in the same folder right now, so I can directly use the name. So second .css, and that's it, sorted. Now both the pages are linked. And now let's see if this CSS is working. And let's do one more thing. Let's comment out the link. First of all, let's see if it is not working. You can see that now it's not working because there is no CSS. The CSS is in other page. So now we have to see if after linking it works. So activate the link, save it, and let's go and see. And here we go. The CSS is getting applied. So this is the third way of applying CSS, which is the most common and the most used way, that is external CSS. Why we do this? Because we want to keep them separate. We want to keep our HTML file good looking. We want to keep our CSS file good looking so that we can understand the code properly. They are not mixed, and it's easier to like see your code, right? So that's what we're going to do here. So is that clear, everyone? So that's why it is called as external CSS, because it's not in the same file, it's in a separate file. That's it. Can we use src instead of href in the link tag? No, Raj, no, because href is the attribute that is available in link tag. Is that cleared, Raj? So you cannot use src there because src not even, I think it's not even an attribute of link tag. Now I have never used it. No, it's not even an attribute. Attributes are fixed. Attributes are fixed for a tag. Like relation is attribute of link tag. href is attribute of a link tag. src is not attribute of link tag. Okay. Yes, Prakriti. Yes, why not? See, link tag is basically used to link external things with your HTML page. Now I'm linking a CSS file. Okay. So basically there are two attributes. There is href in which you mention what you're linking. So I'm linking this file, second.css, right? Then what is the relationship between your file and the file you're linking? That means what is the relationship between the HTML file and the CSS file? Okay, fine. The file that I'm linking, the second.css that I'm linking, is my style sheet, is a file in which my styling code is. Is that clear, everyone? Guys, so that's it. So inline, the CSS, you write in tags. You write with style attribute for a particular tag. Internal CSS, the CSS that you write using style tag in the same document as your HTML file. In the same document that is your HTML file. And external CSS, you write your CSS separately and you link your HTML and CSS files. That's it. Sorted. So everyone now tell me, are we cleared? So now we know how to write CSS basically and how to apply CSS. And now we can move ahead and see all the other things and all the magic of CSS. Till now we were just understanding how to write CSS. Now we can actually see what are the other properties and how they work in CSS. Okay. So everyone, are we cleared? Can we move ahead now? I want every one of you to answer. All the 100 people watching, everyone, please answer. Are we cleared? Because now we're going to see the most important thing of CSS. And if you understand that, you can say 30 to 40% of CSS is clear to you, because that there are some properties that I'm going to tell you now. And those are the properties that people generally don't understand. Okay, and that's why they're always confused in alignment and arrangement. Once you understand those, the whole CSS is going to be easy. The whole CSS will just look like a normal English. Okay, once you understand those properties. And now we're going to talk about that. Okay, so now guys, see, while working with HTML, we ignored few tags. We didn't learn them because there are few tags that we didn't learn because we need CSS to work with them. Without CSS, we can't work properly with those tags. Okay, so that's why we didn't learn those tags yesterday. But now we're going to learn those tags because now we know CSS. Now we have CSS. So now we can learn those tags. Okay, so what are the tags that we basically ignored? What are the tags that we basically ignored while learning HTML? And now we're going to learn them because now CSS is available. First of all, let's clear everything up. Now we don't need this. Files are linked properly. We have a blank CSS page. We have a blank HTML page. And now let's learn those tags. Okay. So guys, there is something, or there's a concept of container tags. There's a concept of container tags in HTML. Okay. Container tags are nothing but tags that create containers for you. Now, when I say containers, they look like boxes. They are simply boxes. But now you can ask, sir, why are we going to create boxes? Like we have images, we have text. Why are we going to create boxes? So remember, guys, boxes or containers, it's a more better name. Boxes or containers are like the core part of your arrangement and alignment. Okay, they can hold your content together. You can move them here and there. The best thing is why they're called containers, because they can hold your content together and you can move the whole box here and there with all the content. Now, if I want to give an example of how they look like, let's go to a site like flipkart.com. You can go anywhere. You can go on Amazon or something like this. Okay. Now, see, in this, you have images, you have text, you have buttons, you have everything. But if you focus properly, you can see you have a lot of boxes here. See the first blue bar? Inside that, you have text. You have this field, you have this button, you have the text. But what about the blue bar? How it is created? That's nothing but a box, which is basically keeping your things aligned, keeping your things different from the other things. It's like a separate section. That's the use of a container. See this again, the next box, the white box in which you have your categories, right? That's again a box. Then again, you can see the slider, right? See the slider. It's in a separate box containing all your buttons and images. Then you can see this. This is again one more box, which is containing your like deals of the day products and everything. This is a separate box, which is containing your ad. So basically, all your website actually is divided into a lot of boxes or containers. And those containers hold your content together so that if you want to move your content at one time, you can move the container. So containers is like a bucket which holds all the content in it. And if you want to move all the content, you don't have to move the content. You can simply move the bucket and the content will move there. So that's what it is. It's just like a box. Okay. So now we're going to learn how to create these boxes, and so that we can fill the content inside them and we can arrange. So these boxes or containers are one of the core parts of your designing, of your CSS or HTML designing, of your web designing thing. These boxes or containers are one of the most important things. Is that clear, everyone? So now we're going to see how to create these boxes. Now see, you already have one box. This body is a by default container that you get, right? Body is one of the boxes that you by default get. But now we have to see, what if I want to create a lot of different sections or containers in my page so that we can arrange our content properly. So everyone, have we understood the concept of containers? Is it a good practice to use multiple CSS and link them all inside of HTML? Because sometimes I get lost finding my CSS classes. Yeah, it's fine. Like it's not a question of good practice. Yeah, it is fine. If you want, if you need multiple like CSS in your file, you're gonna link them. So yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's not a bad practice. Okay, Monty, it's not a bad practice, buddy. Yeah, we link. Sometimes we want to use some external CSS as well as our own CSS as well as some online CSS. We link all of them together. That works. It's not a bad thing. Okay, guys. So now let's move ahead and let's see how to create containers. Okay, how to create containers in HTML, how to create those boxes. Now see, the output of these tags, we know that it's just going to be a box, but still we have different tags for it. Like for example, the first and one of the most common tags that you'll see to create a box is this div tag. Div stands for division. Okay, let's give it a class. Now see, by default it does nothing. You can see on a page, by default it does nothing. That's why we didn't learn it till now. But now we have CSS. Now we can see what it does. Okay. So let's give it a class of 1. You can give any class. I'm giving 1. You can give any class. Okay. So div class of 1. And now let's apply some CSS to it. Let's go. Now, what are the properties a box can have? What are the properties a container can have? It can have a height, right? Because if it is a box, it can have a height. So let's say height 400 pixels. Right. Then let's say width around 600 pixels. And to see it, let's give it a background color of red. And let's see what is the output of this. Oh, I have zoomed my page, so sorry. This is the size. So now I have a box of 400 pixel height and 600 pixel width. That's it. It's like a body inside a body. It's like a small body that you have. And inside this now, you can put your elements. You can put your image inside this. You can put your another sections. If you want, you can also create one more div inside a div. You can create box inside box. You can create box inside box, and then inside that you can create an image or a text, whatever you want, whatever you want. For example, see, I can get a P inside it, and that will be contained inside that box. See this? Now, inside my box, I have a P element. Okay, it has a lot of text. Now let's see. See now that paragraph is properly contained inside that box. So your container is containing the element properly. And if you move this box, the P element, the child element will also move. Why we call it child? Because it is inside the div, right? So we can also call it a child element. This P is a child of this div element. This div element is a child of the body, right? Just like a structure, normal structure, tree structure. Is that clear, everyone? So you can see how your thing, like how your P element is getting contained inside that box. Are we cleared, everyone? Are we understanding? Will we use flexbox or grid CSS to align elements? We're going to use flexboxing. Let's see about grids, because the next section will be our last session. The next session will be our last session. So let's see if we can reach till grids. But yeah, flexboxing, I'm definitely going to teach you. So everyone have an understanding? Okay. Now, for some time, let's remove this P. Don't worry, you can create n number of elements inside the box. But now, there are a few more tags that you can use that are going to give you same output. They're also going to create boxes. Okay, like for example, there's one more tag called section tag. Okay, there is one more tag called a section tag. Okay, which again, let's say you give it a class of, let's say, 2. Okay, and let's go and apply some CSS to it. And again, there's also a box tag. It's again going to create a container. That's it. Give it any height of like 200 pixel. Give it a width of 200 pixel. Give it a background color of blue. Let's see what it is doing. Is it doing anything different? No. You are still creating a box with a different size. And there are a lot of tags. There is also a header tag. There is also a footer tag. There is also a main tag. And all of these elements just create boxes. What if we don't give width to this container? Please tell. Don't worry, Ayushi. Just wait for some time. Wait for some time. Hold your excitement. We'll do that as well. I'm going to tell you what happens. Okay. So now, guys, all of this are going to create boxes. So now you can ask, sir, why do we have then? Like, why do we have all of this with different names? If all of them are going to give same output, like, why are we not having only div Or why are we not having only section? If all of these are going to create same thing, why do we have this? Okay, so before HTML5 there was only div that we used to create sections, but in HTML5 these things were introduced. Okay, and why they were introduced? For semantics, for good coding standards, okay, and for good readability of the user, of the browser, and of the search engine. So what they say is, if you're creating a section, if you're creating a big section on your web page, like for example, you're creating a product section, use a section tag. You're creating an about us section, use a section tag. You're creating a, let's say, gallery section, use a section tag. If you're defining a section, if you're defining a meaningful section, use a section tag. And inside the section tag, if you want to create some smaller containers, for that you can use divs. For any meaningless container, you can definitely use div. But for meaningful containers, like now this area belongs to products, this area belongs to about us, this area belongs to gallery, use the section tag. It's just a good readability. That's all. User readability is also good. Okay. Browser readability also becomes good. And search engines also understand your site better. They understand that this is a section. So I can consider it like a big section and take it as a result for the search engine. So it's a good standard to use this section, right? So for all your separate sections, for all your meaningful sections, you can use a section tag. And if you're just creating a simple container inside the section, you can use a div tag. Now, for your header section, like this, the top one, now this is what we call as a header. For this, you can use a header so that the search engine and the browser can understand that, okay, fine, this is the header section. Now, if you want, you can also use a div tag for it. It will create the same output, but the code readability will be more better if you use a proper header tag. Output is going to be same, just the tag name is different. Just the tag name is different. Remember that, guys. It's just the tag name that is different that makes all the standards, so that browser readability and search engine readability is good. These are all good semantics. Okay, why do we need them? Because once we create a site, once we launch it, we want our site to be at a good ranking, so that search engines like Google and Bing and everyone consider my site for a good result. That's why we have to use all this thing. For the footer one, for this area, for this last area, this one, you can use a footer tag. You can also use a div tag, but again, footer tag is much more better. Okay, output is going to be same, but semantics are good. And for the middle area, for this area, for the middle area, for the whole middle area, you can use the main tag. Like, okay, fine, it is my main section. And inside main, you can use different section. And inside sections, if you want to create much more containers, you can use divs. Is that clear? Sir, can you repeat again difference between div and... See, guys, first of all, I would like to again repeat all of it. The output for all of this is going to be same. All of them are going to create boxes. Yes, Aniket, we also have a nav tag. And again, it's for same thing. What they say is, when you create something like this, like a navigation, right? Like links, use a nav tag. But again, the output of this is same. So remember, guys, the output of all these tags is same. They are going to create containers, but it's just how you use them. Like the meaningfulness of them is important. Like, for example, if you're creating a separate section, use a section tag. If you're creating the nav area, use the nav tag. If you're creating the header section, use the header tag instead of div tag. If you're creating the footer section, use footer tag. If your main section is there, use the main tag. Is that clear? So that the browsers and search engines can read your code properly. These are good semantics. So is that clear, everyone? Guys, are we cleared? Please tell me, everyone, are we cleared? So the output wise, all of them are same, but code readability is much more better once you use all of this properly. Same output, but giving a correct name makes it more readable. Yes, Nathan, that's what I'm talking. Is that clear, everyone? Can I hide elements and show it later? Why not, buddy? Yes, why not? You can definitely do it. Whatever you see on the websites, you can do it here. So everyone, are we cleared? Please tell me. I want all the 130 people to answer. Are we cleared? Now for today's session, we are only going to use div because at the end output of everything is same. So if I show something if I show something to you for a div, understand that it will also work for section. Remember, guys, again, I'm telling you once more, all of the tags are same. They are just creating containers. Remember that. So whatever I can apply on divs, I can apply on sections, I can apply on main, I can apply on footer, I can apply on header. All of them are same thing internally. It's just readability is better when you use proper names. Is that clear to everyone? Okay, so whatever I apply on div can be applied on sections because all of them are container tags. They all create boxes. Now then, let's move ahead and let's see what are the separate. Sir, span tag, don't worry, I'm also going to talk about that. Don't worry, Sangram, I'm also going to talk about that. Don't worry at all, buddy, don't worry. Now, first of all, let's reduce the height and width. So let's make it 200 200 for now. So move this. Now guys, see, now if you focus properly for the next 10 to 15 minutes, the basic, the core of CSS that a lot of people don't understand, you'll understand it perfectly. Is image tag also same as div? No, no, Monty, no. Image tag is for image, right? It's not same as div. How can it be same as div? You saw it yesterday, right? We used image tag to create an image. It has a source attribute that creates an image for you. How can, like, we can't even think of it that image tag is same as div, right? Image tag is used for creating an image separate. That's it. You cannot put any other content in that. It's not a container tag, right, Monty? It's an empty tag. Okay, now guys, let's move ahead. Okay, and let's see what are the other things. So now you can see we have a box. Okay, we have a box and we have a height and width of 200 pixel. Okay, and that's what is the sizing of the element on our browser. That's what is taking the size, like this much is the size that the element is taking on the browser, 200 by 200. But there are some other things as well that contribute in your size. Remember guys, there are some other things as well that contribute in the size of an element other than the height and width. Okay, so there are some other things that contribute in the sizing of an element other than height and width. But remember, height and width is the real size. All the other sizes are going to be fake. Height and width is the only real size. Remember that, guys. It's the only real size which can hold content. Okay, always remember this. Okay, and now we're also going to talk about the other things that takes up size for an element. Okay, so let's see. So the first thing that takes up size for a particular element is padding. Okay, the first thing that takes up size for a particular, now remember guys, height and width is already a size. As I said, it's a real size, but there are some other sizes that you see on the web page for an element. Okay, so elements can have, like, in the sizing of an element, not only height and width matter, there are some other things that also matter, but they are fake. Height and width is the only real sizing. So the other thing that you have, one of it is padding. Okay, what is a padding? Padding is nothing but a fake size added on top of height and width. Padding is nothing but a fake size added on top of height and width. For example, if I go here and give padding of 50 pixels, see now, element's size got increased. So all around 50 pixel size is increased. On the top 50 pixel is added, on the right 50 pixel is added, on the bottom 50 pixel is added, and on the left 50 pixel is also added. To see this properly, what you can do is right click, inspect. Right click on the element and inspect. And let me just open here and see. Here in this section, you can see this area. Okay. So remember guys, in the element section, in this bottom area, you can see this. I hope you can see it, everyone. I hope you can see this. This is what you call as box model. This shows you how your element is taking size on the browser. So you can see if I go in this blue area, you can see that is 200 by 200. And you can see the element is getting highlighted. That is my real height and width. And on top of that, a 50 pixel padding is added. That is nothing but a fake size. Why I call it fake? Because it can never hold any content. Because see, if I put anything inside it, like let's say I put A, B, C, something like this, you'll see that the content is coming inside the real height and width. It's not starting from the top. It is not starting from the very top because it is starting from the top of your real size. That is your height and width. So the height and width is your real size. The padding is fake. It can never hold content. It's just a sizing. That's it. I'm never going to hold content. I'm not going to do anything. I'll just make your element look bigger. That's it. Is that clear, everyone? Guys, are we clear? So padding is nothing but a fake size. That is it. That's it. It just contributes in your size, makes your element look bigger, and that's it. It's a fake size. Why I call it fake? Because it's never going to hold any content. The content will always come in your real height and width. Always remember this. Okay, and this thing that you see here is called as a box model. Okay, which basically shows how an element is taking up the size on the browser page, on the web page. Okay, so currently this box model is for this element, because see, in this element section here, I have selected that element. Okay, that's why this current box model is for that element. If I go on body, now this box model is for body. If I go on body, if I go on the element, now this box model is for this element. So that's how you can see. So you can see it for every other element that you create. Okay, now. So padding is one of it. Now, what about the others? Let's see, you can see there are two more things here, border and margin. So these are again two other fake sizes that we're going to see. Okay, so let's also talk about border here. Border. Okay, now remember guys, padding is just a fake size. It cannot hold a content, and it also cannot have a different color. Whatever is the element color, that will be the padding color. But border here is the exception. Border is again a fake size. Okay, it's never going to hold content, but at least it can have a different color. So how do we do it? You go, and also it can have different like shades, different ways of displaying it. You can display different types of border. So borders have types. They are fake size, they are on top of element, but at least they look different. They can have different colors, they can have different types. Okay, so like this, border 20 pixel. Now this is my size of the border. Okay, 20 pixel. Then I say solid. Okay, solid is one type of border, and then you can at least give a different color. So I can give like black. I want a border size 20 pixel, solid type, and black. Let's see. And here we go. Now you can see in the box model, I have 200 real height and width, 50 padding, and then 20 border. Is that clear to everyone? But at least the border can have a different color, unlike padding. Is that clear? But remember, guys, here I'm saying that padding is fake size, but it is useful. Whatever you see here, all of them is useful. Is that clear to everyone? Guys, are we understanding this? Please tell me. So now this is something that you have, that is nothing but border. Is that cleared, guys? HTML by daily does what is the name of rectangular area? It's a div, buddy. I think you just joined. You can do one thing, buddy. You can just go in back in the video and again start from start so that you can understand everything. Right? HTML by daily does. You can do that, buddy. Just go back in the video and watch it from start, because actually we have covered a lot of things. So if I tell you like very fast, you'll not understand it. So the best way will be just go back a little, watch it again, and you'll understand everything. Okay. Now, guys, let's also talk about the third one. That is margin. And now it's very special. See, guys, I'm calling them fake sizes. That doesn't mean they are not useful. Okay, they are all useful, very useful. But I'm just calling them fake size because they are fake sizes. Okay, before moving on to margin, I want to show you some different types as well. Not a problem, buddy, not a problem. I'm here to teach you. You're not disturbing me at all, HTML. But it's just, right now we have covered a lot of things. Like from last 1 hour and 10 minutes, we are learning. So I suggest you to go back and start from scratch so that you can understand everything. Okay, buddy? Okay. Now, guys, before moving on to margin, I also want to show you different types of borders. So you have this dashed. So you can see borders will go like this. This is called as a dashed border. You also have dotted border like this. Okay. And solid is the only thing I normally use because it's like plain. There's one more type that is very useful. I'll show you, but it will not be like good in black color. So let's change the color for some time, because that next type of border cannot be properly seen in black color. Now, the next type is ridge. So you also have a ridge border. If you see this, you see the frame effect, guys? You guys see the frame effect, everyone? So that's what ridge border is. Okay. So I like in black color, it's not like you cannot like properly see it. The definition is not that great in black color. I can see it, but on internet, I don't think it will be seen. So that's why I used the ridge with brown color. Okay. Now, if you want, you can use black, but I'm not sure if with black it will look good. With black, it's not properly visible, right? You can see that with black, I can see it if I like look very closely, but you can't see it. Okay, that's why I use different color. Okay, but for now, let's keep it solid. Now, let's talk about the third one and one of the special cases, that is margin. The other fake size, that is margin. So what is margin? Again, guys, margin, nothing but a fake size, just like padding. But what is the special case? The special case is margin is invisible. You can't see it. That's the special case. It's a fake size. You can see the sizing, but it is invisible. It's an invisible sizing. So you'll see this like this. Let's see. Let's see. Margin of 50 pixel. Now see. Everyone, please focus. Here we go. We felt like our element got moved, but no, our element is not moving. If you go here, see this. There is an invisible 50 pixel on the top, on the left, and on the bottom. Can you see that, everyone? And on the right, you can see it's going towards the end. Don't worry, we'll also talk about that. But see, at least on the top, on the left, on the bottom, there is a 50 pixel fake sizing added, but that is invisible. So we got a feeling of element is moving, but our element is not actually moving. It's not at all moving. But you can see the right margin is going towards the end. So that's one problem. Even if I've given 50 pixel right margin, but still the right margin is going towards the end. And we'll talk about that. Don't worry. But are we understanding, guys? Please tell me. Are we understanding this? Everyone, are we understanding this? Please tell me, guys. Everyone. Okay. That is really great. That is really great. Now, let's talk about a different thing. Now, let's talk about this. Like, the top margin is perfect. The left margin is perfect. The bottom margin is perfect. We get 50-50 pixel. But why the right margin is going towards the end? Now, that's because of the type of element div is. That's because div falls under a category. Div falls under a category of element. And those elements, right margin is always goes towards the end. Okay. Now, is there any problem with this? Like, we have to also understand that. Like, is there any problem with this extra right margin? Are we going to face any problem with this? Let's see. So let's do one thing. Let's create one more div. Okay. Let's create one more div. I want to show you actually, like, is there a problem that we can face if that extra margin is there? Let's see. So let's create one more element. Let's create one more div and let's give it a class of 2. Okay. Just to understand it, guys. Dot 2. Okay. Let's give it a height of 100 pixel. Let's give it a width of 100 pixel. Sorry, pixel. And let's give it a background color of green. Now focus, everyone. Now you can see that there is a lot of space left on the right side of the element, but still my green element comes at the bottom. Why? It's because of the fake size. It's because of the fake size. You can see the top size, the left size. You can see the bottom sizing, 50 pixel margin is here. That's why it's coming 50 pixel in the bottom. But you can see on the right side, there is a lot of space left. And even if I have given 50 pixel margin on the right, still my element is coming down because the right margin is taking the whole thing. So yes, we are facing a problem. We can't align elements horizontally because of this. I cannot create any other element inside of that div, even if I have space. I have a lot of space, but I cannot create any other element because the right margin is taking the whole screen. That's why I cannot create an element there. And that's one problem. So yes, this thing is causing a problem. But now, why it is happening? Why this element's right margin is going towards the end? If not top, left, like the top one, the left one, the bottom one are not doing that. Why only the right one? Because of the type of element this div is. So guys, there are types of elements. There are categories of elements. Like, there are categories in which your element belongs. So basically all the elements, all the tags that you create here, they belong to a specific category. Okay. So there is one category that is called as block elements. So there is a category of block elements. Okay. There is a category of inline elements. Okay. So these are the two basic categories that you have: block elements, inline elements, and div comes under block elements. Div, section, main, nav, footer, header, all of it comes under the category of block element. And block elements by default feature is that the right margin will definitely go towards the end. That's their by default feature. Is that clear, everyone? And we also have inline elements. Inline elements feature is they will never have a right margin. So whatever you create, it will be arranged horizontally. So whenever you create block elements, they will always go vertical. Even if they are this small, they will always get arranged vertically because the right margin takes up the whole screen. And if you create inline elements, they will simply get arranged like what do you say, in a horizontal fashion. But now you can ask, then sir, can we simply convert our block element to inline element? Then that will work, right? If I simply convert my block elements to inline elements, it will work. No. Now there's a case. Inline elements can never have height and width. Inline elements can never have height and width. And block elements can have height and width. So now we have two problems. Block elements can have height and width, but can never be arranged like horizontally because their right margins take up the whole space. See, these two are block elements, right? This is a div, this is a div. Both of them are block elements, but they cannot be arranged horizontally. They will always go vertical order. Why? Because the right margin is taking up the whole space. But then you have inline elements. They go horizontal by default. There is no right margin. But the problem is I cannot give them height and width. That means even if I convert my div from block to inline, then it can never have height and width. What if you display div in flex? Does it work? Yeah, definitely it will work. No, in this case, it will not work. You have to give flex to parent. That's why we're not understanding that concept now. First of all, Nathan, we are trying to understand the basics. So flex comes afterwards. First, we have to understand types of element and how they are working. Is that cleared? Okay. So now, guys, I was talking about, now if I convert them to inline, then I cannot have height and width. So what can I do then? What can I do that they can have height and width like block element, but they can also be arranged horizontally like inline element? So for that, you have a hybrid type of element that is inline block, which works both, which works like both, like inline as well as block. So it has the inline feature of arranging in a horizontal order and block feature of getting height and width. So let's do this. Let's convert our block elements to inline block elements. And for that, you have a display property. By default, the display of div is block. By default, it's block. Even if you don't use the display property, it is block. But I want it to get converted into inline block. And I want both of them. I want both of them to be converted into inline block. So now they are inline block. That means now they are not block. So they will not have a right margin. And if they don't have a right margin, and if there's a space at the end, the other element will come in the side. Let's see if it is actually working. And here we go. See now? Can you see that? The margin is working perfectly now because now it's an inline block element. It's not a block element. So margin is taking a proper space. There is no extra margin that is going towards the end. There's only 50, 50, 50, 50 from all the sides. And then after that, there is a lot of space left. So the other element is simply coming in the side. If there is no space, it will definitely go in the bottom. But there is space, so it is coming in the side because now there is no right margin that is covering the whole space. Is this clear, everyone? Guys, are we understanding? Please tell me. So this is what we can do to arrange our elements horizontally. We can simply give display inline block to all the elements, which will convert them to inline block. And by that, they will stop having right margin and our elements can be arranged horizontally without any problem. So everyone, are we cleared? I want every one of you to answer. Are we cleared with this? Guys? That is really great. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So now, so this was basically a box model, right? So simple. A lot of people I have seen that they get confused while learning the box model. You don't have to. It's simple. Height and width, padding, border, and margin. And that's it. Okay. Now then, let's move ahead. Okay. And let's talk about a few more things because we're almost ending, like we're almost reaching towards the end of the session. We have like 10 minutes remaining. So let's talk about few more things. Okay. So now, before moving on, before moving on to the next session, I would like to leave you with a little bit of flex boxing. I would like to leave you with a little bit of flex boxing. But before that, let's talk about width. Okay. So I think someone asked, right? Someone asked like, what if we don't give width to the element, right? What if we don't give width? So let's talk about that as well. So for now, guys, for now, let's remove this element. We don't need the second element. And let's also remove the padding border margin. I don't want all of this. Okay, I'll keep the display in block. I always want this, so I'll keep it. But I don't want the padding, border, margin, everything. Okay. Actually, not flex. We're going to talk about the different measurements like pixels. Okay, so pixel is one of it. But now we're also going to talk about percentage, because percentage is one of the most important units for measurement of elements in CSS and HTML. Okay, so let's talk about that. So basically, guys, if you want, you can also give your width and height in percentage, mostly width. You can also give your width and height in percentage. But how it works? Because pixels is just a calculation. Pixel is just a calculation. So basically, how it works? Okay, so let's see how the percentage works. So 100. Let's say if I give like 100%. Okay. Now remember, guys, just remember this one line. Whenever you give width or any measurement in percentage, it is always related to the parent. It is always related to the parent. So if I give an element a width of 100%, it will take up the whole parent width. So if you give me 100% width, whatever is the width of my parent, I'll take up that. I don't care what is the width of my parent. Whatever is the width of my parent, I'll take that. For example, in this case, see, body's width is complete, right? Body's width is complete, and this div is the child of body. So if I give this div a width of 100%, see what happens. It takes up the whole width. And if I make my screen small, the body becomes small. And if my body is becoming small, the div element is also becoming small, because the div element is depending on the body for the width. Because the width is given in percentage. If you give it in percentage, the width always is related to the parent width. I don't care what is the width of my parent, I'll always take up that width if you give me 100%. Basically, my width will be always in comparison with my parent. Now, to give you more specific example, let's do one more thing. Okay, let's give it a width in pixels, like 600 pixels. Okay, everyone please focus. Now this is 600 pixel. Now inside that, let's create one more div. Give it a class of one underscore child. So inside that div, I'm creating one more div. Okay. Now I go there, write the class one child, and let's say I only give it a height of 100 pixels. So height of 100 pixels. Now I want to give width, but before that I want to give background color. So background color blue. So I want to give width now. Okay. So now guys, see, if I give width of 50% to this, now see what is going to happen. It's going to take 50% of the parent. I don't care. The blue element doesn't care what is the width of the parent. I don't care if it is 3000 pixels or if it is 2 pixels. I don't care. If you give my width in percentage, I'll always compare my width with my parent. So whatever is my parent width, I'll take the 50% of that. And you can see it's happening here. Now, if I grow my parent, from 600 to 900, the child will also grow, because the child has to take up 50% of whatever the parent is having. Is that clear? So that's how percentage work. Percentage always works in the relation with the parent's width and height, with the parent sizing. So if parent goes, the child will grow. If the parent becomes small, the child will become small, because my width is in percentage. That means I'm calculating my width depending on my parent. So whatever is the parent width and height, whatever is my parent's measurement, I'll take up the width and height accordingly. Is that clear, everyone? Yes, Shefali, don't worry. We're also going to talk about other properties. Don't worry. We have one more session. We're going to talk about, what do you say, alignment, flex boxing, box shadow, everything. Don't worry, Shefali. We're also going to talk about that. Okay, guys. So I really hope that you guys understood this. I really, really hope. So whenever you give percentage, always think of the parent. And I don't care what is the width of the parent. I will always work with the parent. That's it. So for example, if I give this a width of 100%, see, the red one is full because it's taking the whole body width. But you can see this is 50%, so I'm taking 50% of my parent. Simple. And if the screen becomes small, the body becomes small. If the body becomes small, the one element, that is the child of body, this one, is becoming small. And if this div is becoming small, this will also become small, because they are all in percentage. They are related. You can see that, right? This is the first step of responsiveness, guys. This is the first step of responsiveness. Your element's width is responding to screen size change. See that? Screen grows, size grows. Screen becomes small, size becomes small. What if we give more than 100%? You'll go beyond the screen. Simple. Hemant, if you go beyond 100%, you'll go beyond the screen. Simple. If I give 150%, see, now you have a scroll bar because now you're beyond the screen. Is that clear, Hemant? Right? So simple. If I give 100%, I'll take up 100%. If you give me 150%, I'll be like 1.5 times bigger than the parent. Simple, right? Can we, sir, can we manually have padding like only left side padding or right side padding? Yes, Shardul. Why not, buddy? See, this padding is for every place. If you only want to give it to left, you have padding left. Just like that, you have margin left. Just like this, you have padding right, margin right, border left, everything. Is that clear? So yes, padding is for all the sides. But if you give padding left, it's only for left side padding. Is that clear, buddy? Shardul, I hope it is clear now to you. Okay. So guys, have we understood the basic width concept? Everyone? Is it breaking time? Like Suresh Kumar, what kind of breaking time you're assuming here? Are you talking about break point in responsiveness? Are you talking about that, Suresh? Okay. So everyone, that's it for today. So now we have understood the box model. Now we have understood basic like about percentage widths. Now we know how to create box containers and everything. And now we know the basics of CSS and how to apply CSS. And now in the next section, we'll talk about flex boxing. And after completing flex boxing, we'll also try to create a really simple, good looking web page. Is that clear, everyone? Now the next section may be bigger. The next section may be of like 2 hours. Okay. So don't worry, we're also going to complete flexboxing and we're also going to complete a project. And let's see if we get time at the end or around, let's say 10 to 15 minutes, I'll also explain you the basics of grid. Don't worry about it. Is that clear, everyone? Sir, please can you explain more about those pixels and any other measurement? Yes, yes, I'm also going to talk about EM. So in this last session, I'll also talk about EM. Don't worry about it. Is that clear, everyone? Guys? So that it's for that, like that's it for today, because like we can't move ahead because it will be like a lot to consume then. So that's it for today. Now we know the basics of CSS, how to apply CSS, right? How to create sections, what is the box model, how margin works, padding works, what is block, what is inline. So now in the next session, in the first half an hour, we'll learn the basics, the fundamentals of flexboxing, and then after that, we'll move ahead to the project. And now guys, one more thing, the next session is on Sunday. Okay, so just to let everyone know, the next session is on Sunday in afternoon. The timing will mail to you. So please everyone register in the course because the next session is on Sunday and I think the timing is around 11 o'clock. Maybe it will be in the morning. Okay, so everyone please tell me, you guys will join, right, everyone? So the next session will be on Sunday in the morning so that after that you can be free and enjoy your Sunday. Is that clear, everyone? Guys, so I want every one of you to join there. Sunday, that is 19th, maybe 11 o'clock, or don't worry if there are any changes, that it will be mailed to you. Can't make it on Sunday, not a problem coding, but not a problem coding, Apostle buddy. You can watch it afterwards and you can join the community. You can ask any doubts there and I'll answer you. And I would like to see you in other sessions as well. So not a problem, buddy. That's fine. That's fine. If you can't attend it one day, that's fine. Okay, not a problem, Abhishek, not a problem. Okay, so guys, the next session, the third session and the last session will be on Sunday. So Saturday, you have holiday. You can enjoy your Saturday. On Sunday, 11 o'clock in the morning, we are going to have our session. Okay, and today's code and the assignment question will be again mailed to you. And again, let me just do it for everyone. I will tell you the assignment here only. So if you don't get the email, you'll still see it. Okay, so I'll tell you the assignment here only. The assignment is, guys, I want you guys to create like 3 sections. Okay, so create 3 sections. Okay, first section will have 3 child elements. That means it can have 3 divs. Second section will have 2 child elements. That means 2 divs. And the third section will have 2 images in that. Guys, this is what you have to create as your assignment. I want you guys to create this. So we're going to create 3 sections. The first section will have 3 child elements. The second section will have 2 child elements with any height and width, doesn't matter. And the last section will have 2 images in it. So guys, this is your assignment. It will also be mailed to you, but I just want you guys to see this. If you don't get the assignment, you can still see it here. And I want everyone, guys, see the assignment submission form link, the registration link, and the group link is in the chat. I want every one of you to join everything that is in there so that you can get your you can submit your assignments. You can also get emails like about everything, and you can also like get all the assignment questions. So all the links, guys, are in the chat. Please join on them. Okay, everyone, please join the group, register for the course, and also please what is that? Yeah, assignment form link is also there. So just join the assignment form, like just get the assignment form link so that if you complete the assignment, you can submit it. Is that clear, everyone? Okay, guys. Flutter and PHP course, when we are planning for it, now. Like now, there are few more essentials aligned, and after that, we are planning for Flutter. So Flutter is going to come really soon, maybe in some weeks, maybe in 2 weeks, and just after that, we're also planning for PHP course. So don't worry. Okay, guys. So I really hope that you understood everything. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. So please let me know in the chat, guys. Did you guys enjoy the session or not? And then I'll see you on Sunday, mostly at 11 o'clock in the morning. And if there are any timing changes, it will be mailed to you. So please register on the course. But at least just check it once on Sunday at 11 o'clock. Just check it once. Okay. If the lecture is live, you can just come in and join because we're going to do a lot of things. We're going to do flexboxing and we're going to create a project. Okay, everyone. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for learning with me. Bye bye, everyone. Good night. See you on Sunday. Bye bye, everyone. Good night.